I spent $500 on a Christmas gift for my boyfriend and I regret it. Money is a touchy subject for me. I think it stems from never having it growing up, but making big purchases always stresses me out. My boyfriend asked for something for Christmas which came down to $530 and I bought it for him, but now I'm starting to feel guilty. I would never spend that much money on myself or my mom or other family members or friends, but for some reason this was so easy. I'm starting to feel guilty about the purchase for that very reason. I wouldn't even do this for my own mother, so why him? I want to tell him that I changed my mind and will fund half of the gift, but that seems so tacky and crude. Not sure if those are the right words. I keep reminding myself that he has spent significant much money on me. My birthday had to have surpassed $500, so he deserves this, right? But then I think about all the other gifts I still need to get this holiday season and I feel awful. Has this happened to anyone? Any words of advice? We're in our 20s and have been together for a year and a half for what it's worth. Edit. I'm getting more responses than I was anticipating, so no, I don't feel manipulated or indebted to my boyfriend at all. I did it because I could tell he genuinely wanted it. I agree this may be a symptom of a bigger issue. Therapy may be needed here. I could afford the purchase. I'm not going to return it. You got him the PS5, didn't you? Anyway, at the end of the day it's your heart that moved you to get him something you knew he wanted, which is sweet and meaningful regardless of how much or how little you spent. You need to get over the anxiety you feel about making bigger purchases than what you're used to. Maybe talk to a therapist about it. If you genuinely couldn't afford it and got it without thinking enough about it, that's another thing. You can return it and get something cheaper. Relationships aren't transactional. Just because he spent a lot of money on you for your birthday doesn't mean he deserves a $530 gift from you. You both need to realize that. If you need the money, then send it back and get a refund. I'm assuming he was aware of the price when he asked for it. Did he just expect you to buy it, or did you talk about it first? I found with my partner that we needed to set a budget for every gift-giving event, so we don't spend too much or even too little on each other. Our budget goes like this: birthday, $150, anniversary, $150, Christmas, Valentine's, $50, or a nice dinner out. I would suggest sitting down with your partner, telling him that you love him, but money is a subject that needs addressing, and from here on you guys will make a budget and only spend that much. Does he know you've already bought it? If it makes you uncomfortable, then it's okay not to do it. His spending on you is also entirely his choice. If it was a new PS5, I'll buy it from you for $535. I spend more on my partner than I do on my mother. That's quite normal. I don't feel like he is using you, as it seems like he spoils you too. If in the future you don't want to spend as much, be sure he knows that there is a cost limit for both of you. You should seek help for your guilt though. He would spend the same amount on you. Don't feel guilty. If he spent more money on you, why not spend money on him? It's one of those things where he's not the stingy one. In my honest opinion, I don't blink when it comes to spending money on myself. I do it because it's my love language and I want to show him I care for him. It is possible your significant other is like me in that he enjoys spending money on you to show you that he cares for you. By doing so in return, I am sure it will make him very happy, but you are probably not used to spending money like that. Understandably, it may feel weird at first, but I am sure when you give it to him for Christmas, seeing his smile will ease your worries. TBH, I think it comes down to, can you afford it? Is that money being gone going to cause additional stress on your relationship, life, etc. in the long term? I'm not talking about, okay, I'll have to make some sacrifices and wants for a bit with ordering food instead of cooking when I am capable, or getting a coffee instead of making a cup before leaving, but like soul-shaking stress like, we are going to lose our home or car because of this. Gifts are great, he'll be happy. He makes you happy, right? He doesn't care about spending on you, so why should it matter? Y'all should celebrate each other without money being a big deal. It's arbitrary anyway and you'll make that money back. Imagine if he had this feeling and he was buying your ring. Maybe get you a cheaper one cause you'll still like it and he don't wanna spend the money. At the end of the day, are you going to be happy? Good luck to you both, heart. Personally, I absolutely wish I had a significant other that I could give the world to. I don't think there's anything wrong with giving your lover a nice gift. Don't feel guilty that you wouldn't do it for your mom or other family members. This is a different dynamic. He's the guy you're in love with. My girlfriend bought me a new Xbox and then returned it and I feel hurt. How do I navigate this situation? Answers: break up with her. She isn't worth the effort. Yes, I know you are not going to return the gift op, just an alternative look of this sub. Did he think it was likely that he would receive it when he asked for it, or was he more like jokingly asking for it? I know I've mentioned super expensive things that I technically want, but I would be horrified if I received anything that expensive actually. I would feel super guilty if my boyfriend thought I actually expected him to buy the outrageous stuff I randomly fantasize about. I also hate spending money, and if I spend once on a big purchase I regret it, but if I spent multiple small amounts I eventually am like, did I need it? Me and my boyfriend don't spend a lot on each other, but if he asked for something big I guess I would totally consider it, but I am not sure I would want to buy it. He would also never ask me to buy him something so expensive. We don't really have limits, but we generally keep it under 100 for gift-giving days or just a nice dinner together. You've been together 18 months and buying him a gift of just over $500. A. Do not recommend. Especially if this cuts into your funds for other things you want, need, and gifts for people you've known longer. I can understand how you feel. I also didn't have a ton growing up but am much more fortunate now, and thus have a weird feeling about spending money sometimes. I would say try to let this go. What's done is done, and your boyfriend will absolutely enjoy it for years to come. You've learned your lesson that this was a bit excessive, and you'll remember this for future holidays and purchases. Just remember that money can be made back, so just try to enjoy the happiness that you've brought him. Life is short and it could end tomorrow. God forbid that would happen, and you'd realize that this just isn't that big of a deal in the grand scheme. Enjoy the holidays. Give yourself permission to spend. You can afford it. He isn't using you and you want to do it. Don't let the fear hold you back. Lol, I'm also very touchy around the topic and will never buy myself anything that surpasses 50. Even though I can afford it and more. The problem is my whole family is poor and I'm the only one with a decent income. So a lot of bills fall on me, and I've been trying to purchase a house for them so no one goes homeless if they lose their jobs. I understand your situation. It's hard for me to purchase stuff for my boyfriend or myself even though he buys me things all the time. Lately I've been making lots of exceptions for him only. But it's hard keeping up with all his spending. I sometimes wish he was a bit more frugal. Honestly, gifts shouldn't be this big of a deal-breaker. It's really nice of you to buy him that, but if you really can't afford it then return it, because you might end up resenting him for it and in the future feel obliged to spend more money on his gifts. As someone who's 20 and me and my boyfriend both know we could never spend $500 on each other, I think it's awesome you want to do this, but it's okay if you can't. Try to set a price limit so next time you don't feel you owe him the same amount, or tell him that you don't need him to spend hundreds of dollars on you. If giving him the gift came from the heart and made you feel good at first, just know that money comes and goes. Life is made to be lived. Release that guilt feeling. You are a great girlfriend. I have never given a significant other gift in that price range, not even my ex-husband, certainly not a boyfriend of 1 year. I don't understand why some people spend that much money on gifts. Gifts should be a thoughtful but small-ish thing, within a certain price limit, depending on your own income but also on the receiver's income. They shouldn't feel outgifted because they can't afford a gift for you in the same price range. There are 3 things you can do with money: spend it, save it, or gift it. We should all do those 3 things with money. You sound more like the saving type. The most important thing is that you should not go into debt buying gifts. If you can't afford $500, then you should have spent much less on a gift. The act of generosity is done, so enjoy the generosity you shared with your BF. But going forward, make sure you pay cash for the things you buy, and know that it's okay to do those 3 things with money. I think you're just scared you'll get addicted to the box. If you can afford it, give it with a big fat smile on your face and get therapy, because if you ever live together or get married, this will become a major issue. I understand it. I didn't grow up with great parents and I always thought we were about to be homeless. I also have a hard time spending money on myself. Wasn't really seen, heard as a kid, definitely not valued as a girl. Never got money spent on me. I understand where it comes from, but I still haven't figured out how to spend money without guilt. There's always something that the kids need, you know. You shouldn't think of it as a price tag. Forget what he spent on you, or what you spend on other people you think deserve it more. Just think about why you even did it in the first place and how much it means to him. You do feel indebted. My birthday had to have surpassed $500, so he deserves this, right? Keep in mind that $500 for him may not be as big a deal as it is for you. Lots of men or women spend money on their partner easily, because they can. But their partner may not be able to reciprocate. You shouldn't feel like you need to do the same amount back, if you can't afford it. You can afford this one purchase by itself, but that's not all your budget is concerned with. You still need to buy items for other people. It's like me saying, yay, I can budget $500 for gifts, and still have some savings left over. But that should include 10 people, not one person. It's just a little money. $500 won't kill you. Hi. I love talking about money and budgeting. I don't make a lot of money, but I manage it very well. I would recommend that you set up a gift account. I have one as well. Say around Christmas you'll be spending $1,000 in total or even $700 in total on presents, no matter the amount. Start saving up in January, and save a percentage of the money towards the December gift budget. I don't think you should return the gift you bought for him, especially if he already knows. But I think it's fair to tell him you don't have that big a budget and ask for a present request within your budget next time. I hope this tip helped. You seem like a good person, don't worry about it. So my F22 family and I have decided to not give each other presents this year. None of us struggles financially. The decision was made because we felt like Christmas became about the presents and not anymore about being together as a family. I get that, especially when you have that financial freedom, you don't worry so much how expensive a gift is for the other person. I have also been in that situation. But I just feel like there's a point at which it's more about the material things than just celebrating that you have each other. And it feels so relieving and exciting thinking about going home to my family on Christmas without the stress of having to get a present for everyone. One of the surest ways to suck joy out of life is regret over money spent on something enjoyable that you can afford. Do whatever is necessary to get over these reelings. My ex, who was American, was like this. I had a mix growing up, rich on one side, opposite on the other. I've always worked, had good money. I remember making my ex walk with me to a specific jean store in NYC to buy myself a pair of $300 USD jeans. He was disgusted. I thought he was actually considering breaking up with me over it. He grew up in a double wide. Money is such a bigger deal in relationships than we realize. I totally get your point. The feeling of how you are doing something for this person who just came into your life a year or two ago which you don't do for your family. I don't have a solution or advice for you. Just wanted to let you know I have gone through this exact same thing. I felt really guilty back then. Now after many years she is my fiancé, I don't feel guilty anymore. It's okay as long as you ask for something big, too. Never regret gifts. It was kind of you. Okay, so I'm going to suggest exploring these feelings and working through them. So when we feel guilty, it's our mind's way of saying we did something we think is a transgression. So you feel like it was crossing a line to buy the gift. You don't normally buy expensive gifts, but what did you feel as you bought it? What were your thoughts? Here is my 2 cents. You should think about it. Don't let guilt trick you into regretting returning it. You can return it, but work through your emotions and thoughts. Make sure that's what you want to do. And if it's a PS5, don't return it. Put it up on eBay for like double the price, and then you can try to get him one after the rush. If it helps, I routinely spend way more money on my GF's presents than my budget for anyone else in my family. They do the same for their significant others. It's totally normal. As long as you can afford it, no one is going to find it weird that you spent a bunch of money on your BFS present relative to theirs. Now if you can't really afford it, then it's a whole different story. I know you said he spent a similar amount on you, but did you ask for that? I can't imagine asking for such an expensive gift from anyone. I didn't have money growing up either, but it seems greedy regardless. I get purchasing guilt a lot as I did not have money growing up either, but I justify it as something worth spending on. Yes, it's a big purchase, but I have a job and that money can always be made back. At least if I die tomorrow, I die purchasing this product that made my boyfriend very happy. That's how I think of it. I have anxiety over money, too. It's a symptom of my major depressive disorder and how I was raised. We just bought a new TV for almost $500 and I am still having anxiety issues over it, even though our old TV is 12 years old. My point is, you aren't alone in feeling this way, but you need to find coping mechanisms to help you deal with it. Damn, if my girlfriend bought me the new Xbox, I'd wife her up. It's money and you can always get more. Parents usually don't expect much from their kids in my experience, and you can always get them something amazing. TAHT doesn't have to cost a lot. I totally understand where you're coming from. I hate spending money on anything, it always feels like a waste and a bad decision. But at the end of the day it's just money. There's always more. It's not that big of a deal. Don't sweat it. Return the gift and get something else. Every year my husband and I discuss the holidays and what we're comfortable spending in late October, early November. We agree to a limit and that's it. It works really well and no one gets stressed about overspending for the holidays, and the focus is instead on getting something that will really be valued versus just expensive. He knows your budget and he loves you. If you cannot afford a $500 gift, then I'm sure he could have accepted that. It's odd that you bought it before considering your finances, but not everyone is good with money, so I can't comment on that. I was once told that money is a medium of exchange. If you don't use it, buy things that you want or need, it is merely some digits on a computer or some paper in your pocket. So if it is just accumulating somewhere in your account or pocket, it's useless. Put it to some good use. You deserve some pampering for the hard work you have done to get it. I would talk to a therapist. This sounds like a deeper insecurity than just this situation. I get buyer's regret around the holidays every year, and a large part of it has to do with not having had a lot of money growing up. The only fix for it that I found was forcing myself to feel the discomfort and telling myself it was okay to spend that money on the people I love and care about. Eventually the guilt and regret became less exhausting. I also find that taking a single paycheck or chunk of money and saying, all of this is going to go towards Christmas, helps because it's mentally preparing me to spend that money and realize that I'm not gonna be out money for food or utilities. If the gift has already been purchased, and you have no desire to return it, then how you feel is somewhat academic. It's natural to feel a little guilty about spending money, if money has been fairly tight throughout your life. However, think about your boyfriend's reaction when you give it to him. If you think it will make him happy and put a smile on his face, then those moments are priceless and they're how memories are made. If he's over the moon with his gift, then any feelings of guilt will disappear fairly quickly. 5 years from now you'll remember the smile on his face and not the money you spent. Enjoy the moment. I hope this comment has been helpful to you. I would give him this gift since it was agreed and bought, but tell him in future you're not comfortable spending so much on gifts and receiving such big gifts. Set a limit of say $100 for each other.